If you're an aspiring food entrepreneur, you need a recipe for success. You need food for thought. Thanks for tuning in to NxBizSuccess. I'm going to introduce you today to Jill Gifford. She's with the Food Processing Center, University of Nebraska in Lincoln, with the Entrepreneurial Assistance Program as part of the Food Processing Center. Jill Gifford, thanks for coming to our program.
Thank you for inviting me.
Many people want to talk to you, and I'm so excited to have you be a part of this. Let's pretend, shall we? Should we just take a little case study that somebody is at home, has got a great recipe for a product, all right? And everybody loves it, and they've been baking it for years. Let's say it's a cookie or a macaroon, something like that, all right? And they're absolutely sure there's commercial success waiting on the horizon. All right. What do they need to be thinking about? I know there are many steps. How can they enlist and engage with you and get all the way there? What do they have to do?
Well, we actually have the entrepreneur program, and the first thing we do would be to invite them to come into our one-day seminar where they can learn all the things they need to know to make a good decision.
All right. So you kind of give them an upfront overview of the whole process.
Exactly.
So they know what they're getting into.
Exactly.
All right.
It helps them understand how the food industry works, what the
Right.
challenges are, what kinds of decisions to make before they get started. So at the end of the seminar, they can make a good decision. Do I want to start a food company?
Because after that, if they decide that they want to, then they have to make quite a commitment.
That's right.
I mean, there's a lot of steps you have to go through.
That's right.
So it's really good to have that orientation up front.
Absolutely.
All right, let's say, for instance, they say, yeah, okay, now I realize it's a big thing, but we want to push forward because I love my recipe. I think it's going to work.
You bet.
All right, where do we begin then? What do we do?
Next step we always encourage is that they need to put together a complete business plan, do their market research, write their business plan so they know exactly what this company is that they want to start.
And the market they want to serve.
Absolutely.
And that's a big job, putting a business plan together. Now, either you help them or would you refer them to other agencies around the state?
You bet. There are all kinds of agencies out there that will help that. We can certainly help them write a business plan, but they need to get one written.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So they've got a plan, and it may take 3, 4, 5 months to get that together.
It could.
A lot of research and study and trade magazines, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
And the point of the thing is to really see how big the market is, don't we? Isn't that kind of the essence of the thing?
Right.
And whether another entree can really make it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, everybody doesn't want to have to want a product, but somebody does, and they need to know who those somebodies are.
Yes, and you have to kind of get into their head and their lifestyle, not just count them up in a demographic report.
Exactly.
Is that right?
Exactly. And where are they buying food products at? We have a lot of places we can buy food at. So where is your customer buying their food at?
Yeah, there are so many channels.
Yes.
It's not just specialty stores or grocery stores or on the internet. I mean, there's lots of places.
Right.
All right, so they get into the plan. That's intimidating to a lot of people, but there's help.
It is. There is help, and we just really talk to them about, you know, break it down so it's not intimidating. We just do a piece at a time, and then it all comes together.
Good. Okay, so they got a plan, and everybody feels good about the plan. It looks good on paper.
Right.
All right, what's next?
Well, then the next step is to go into the second phase of the entrepreneur program, which is from product to profit. And that's where we're going to have a business consultant and a food scientist consultant sit down and start working with them one-on-one through every step of developing the company, developing the product, introducing it to the market.
All right, now so back up. So basically at that point they get the plan and they formally enter really a consulting relationship.
Absolutely.
And there's two people fundamentally that work with them.
Right.
One's kind of a business-oriented person. One's more of a food technology or scientist, as you would say. Now, what does the food scientist talk to them about? Let's go on to the next step.
And one thing, too, those are the point people. I mean, they've got everybody at the food center we can pull in who's ever needed for their expertise. But the food scientist is going to focus on how do we develop this product so we can take it from a kitchen recipe into a manufacturing situation, what changes need to be made. They're going to look at safety issues. You know, all those different aspects, preservatives,
ingredients.
Exactly. What's going to...
Some people think it's organic, but it may not really be organic.
Exactly. And so up front, we're going to ask them those kinds of things. You know, what are the attributes you want of a final product? You know, does it need to be high in fiber? Does it need to be organic? Does it need to be no preservatives? What are those things?
Okay. Wow. And that's a much more complex subject than probably most people that just have a simple recipe and it tastes great. And there's more to it.
It is. There's a lot more to it.
All right. So keep on going. So we're now like 2, 3, 4 steps into the process.
Right.
What about regulatory things? I mean, who do we talk to and what do we do then insofar as making sure it's legal?
There are two different issues to look at. One is if you're going to have a facility, if you're going to do your own processing, Then you have to have the proper regulatory that's going to come in and look at that facility, approve it, inspect it.
So there are approved facilities.
Yes.
Can't usually do it just out of your own kitchen.
Typically, no.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes,
That's
you
good to
need
know.
it. Right.
Then what else? What about the...
Other regulatory would be then to do with the packaging and the labeling. What kind of information needs to be on the label?
Okay.
Where does it have to be on the label? What does the type size, for instance, need to be on an ingredient
And it
statement?
has to be just right, doesn't it?
Yes. The FDA and the USDA have very stringent rules and regulations on all those elements. And we help all our clients with all of that information.
That's invaluable assistance.
Yeah.
Once people begin to realize what they're getting into, they come to appreciate your support, I'm sure, a lot more.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they get all the way through, and the product's there, and it's passed the regulations. You found a facility that's been approved. What's next? Then you got to find a market, right, and get it in front of a buyer.
You bet. We work with them to actually print and design that packaging, and then we work with them to develop sales tools. How do you approach a buyer? What kinds of information will they need? What kinds of things do you need to tell them?
Wow.
So we help them develop all that. We'll even do role playing with them if they need that, so they're comfortable in talking about their product.
And I'm so impressed with the fact that you get right down there into the trenches with them.
Yes, yes.
With the sales letters and preparing them to
Yes.
make presentations. Got to have marketing materials.
Exactly.
Right, got to do
exactly.
that. And I think a very interesting point you've made to us before is that you've got to think about this situation from the reseller or the grocery store buyer's point of view. Not, hey, I've got a great product, you got to try it.
Right.
But what you can get out of this.
Exactly.
If you put it on the shelf or whatever.
Exactly. And too often companies go in and talk about features, how delicious their product tastes, those things.
Right.
And when it comes down to it, what the buyer or the retailer wants to know is what's in it for them. Why should they put your product on the shelf? What are they going to get out of it?
Right.
They're going to get new customers. They're going to get more income. What is in it for them?
Yeah, and that is such a huge paradigm shift. Now, a lot of these are local specialty products, little niche things, boutique things that are grown around a local market area. Is the trend on our side there? I mean, is this a good thing to try to do? Or?
It is. Nationwide, we're focusing a lot more on people are wanting to buy foods from local companies and so forth, so all that trend is growing.
So we're part of a macro trend. If you've got a little product, it's okay, push forward. The public is coming towards you.
That's right.
And the reseller, the channels, and so on. What about the internet? Is that a great idea at this point in time?
It depends who your customer is.
Yeah.
We talked earlier that typically the people that are buying food on the internet are middle-aged, white, wealthy females.
Okay.
And so if that's your
like
market,
baby boomer women in the suburbs,
that's
you know?
right.
Okay.
And so if you've done your research and that's your demographic, then that may be a good channel.
Great. Well, Jill Gifford from the Entrepreneurship Program here at the Food Processing Center at the University of Nebraska in Lincoln. Thank you for coming on. This is so helpful. Gets a lot of people moving downstream and tells us how to get from A to Z if we're an aspiring food entrepreneur. Thank you so much. My name is Lynn Hinderrocker. This is NxBizSuccess. Jill Gifford has given us the basic steps to get from here to there. There's more to it, but you know what? I got good news for you. There are resources, there's assistance, and there's help. Thanks for watching. Keep on going and keep on growing.